Welcome to TUBARS by Uncle Briss. Album reviews, ain't nothing ill as this. Putting on for the tri-state, my state, home of Philly, even the West Coast they feeling. They shared and bombed in Detroit, they watching. Subscribe to the channel, they ain't even an option. International grinding, like it a comment. Ain't no acting Hollywood, he holler back in the comments. Putting out whack music is risky. Peanut butter artists get the skip piece. If you nice, then he rate you on a family scale. Underground to mainstream, he mix it well. Some reviews are so opinionated. On keep it real, like it or hate it. But how can you hate it? It's next to greatness. At Uncle Briss 30, do me that favor. Follow that, promise he'll follow back. Realest thing to hit the internet. Hater, swallow that.
Hey, and I'm back, and welcome to another episode of TUBARS, the Uncle Briss Album Review Show. And of course, this album came out a few weeks ago, but it's definitely a real hip-hop album. I had to talk about Blu Nottz, Titans in the Flesh. Also, my man Jarrett Michael, he brought out a really nice piece of work, is Luke and Adams. And Davinci and Motor General, they teamed up to bring a nice little EP for some real hip-hop heads, Masterpiece Theater. But of course, you know how I do. I got to tell y'all about what I was able to grab this past week. I was able to pick up a whole lot of good music. Now, my man Dave B, he gave us Punch Drunk last year. So now he's back with a really nice piece of work called Tomorrow. My man Jaron Benton, Slow Motion Volume 2. This is one of those albums that's definitely going to get slept on. Please don't sleep on it. He got some really dope features on here, and he got so much to say. My man Sadat X, the old head, he's back with Agua, Brand Nubian's representative. He still got it. Do not sleep on this album. And how could I forget my girl from across the way? I'm talking about Miss Jade. She gave us Dear Summer, hosted by my man DJ No Frills, and Afro and Marco Polo. Afro, young talented guy, bars, delivery, production, dope. We got Dime a Dozen, the 2-piece tape. He's very consistent. Do not sleep on him. Then one of the most slept on MCs out here that is so dope, and he gives us these Starvation. He got a Starvation series. He's up to Starvation 5, and I'm talking about my man Ace Hood. This is the best album out of that series. Please don't sleep on that. And another young guy that I found out about, shout out to my man Mickey Fax for putting me on, Javon Bishop Lawrence. And this album, The Butterfly Effect, is actually an EP. It's a very dope piece of work. You definitely don't want to miss out on that. And I'll be back after these messages.
J Jig is in the building, nigga. My God. Bone can get it, Chip can get it, Cuddy did it, Kelly did it, turn up in cause Jig about to get it too. Lame, step aside when you see my truck arrive, see the fakeness in your eyes. Real is coming through. Niggas telling lies, mad at me cause I'm the truth. Cold up in the land, I brung this fire to the booth. Every bar is so sweet, it's rotting out every tooth. Surprise, my whole grill ain't hanging loose. Ooh, I'm the nightmare in the dream, the peasant and the queen, the dealer and the fiend, Malcolm X and Dr. King, the elephant in the room, the nigger you call coon. I'm the witch you thought I was, give me a broom. Everything, and in a battle taking everything. If you resist, I strip you down to your wedding ring. Nigga, you basic hoes could with Jigga if you had 10 big niggas with ya. Living out my mind for my life a motion picture. They tryna read me, but I am not the common scripture. Originate from kings and queens, I could think upon anything. That's why my shit the bomb, militia. Broke like rubber, baby, rumble like a lion in this jungle. Make these niggas feel you take this ball and don't fumble. So I'm running to that TD. Just tryna beat me, big. But I'm running like my dress size a bikini, cause I started from a penny nigga copper. Now the fan screams at my shows equal opera. They say I'm sick with the flow and I really need a doctor. No, they need a teleprompter. That's the only way these don't see me. Got some niggas blind to me, Helen Keller and Stevie and WA. I make it look easy. I originate from kids. kings and queens, I can think upon anything. That's why my shit the bomb, militia.
Hey, and I'm back, and welcome to the second segment of TUBARS, the Uncle Britt Sound Review Show. And of course, I definitely had to talk about this guy. I did a review on his album Cerebral Assassin a few reviews back. I'm talking about my man Davinci. And Davinci has teamed up with one of the great MCs out of Jersey. I'm talking about none other than my man Mo the General. And they brought a nice 6-song EP out called Masterpiece Theater. And I'ma hop right in. They begin with a track called Showtime at the Garden. And this just sets the tone for how they're separating themselves from today's hip-hop. The bars are bananas on this track. And they just let a lot of these rappers know that they really not on the level to even get in the game, and let alone, display that showtime. And then we go into Comeback, which talks a lot about how the hip-hop game is trash right now and how they wanted to give up, but their love for hip-hop still has them keep coming back to the game. Then we get into First Impressions, and I really love the concept behind this track. It talks about what brought them into hip-hop, and a lot of rappers can relate. You hear a certain song or you hear a certain MC that makes you want to pursue hip-hop. Dev talks about how Eminem influenced his rap career. My man Mo the General talks about how Nas influenced his rap career. A really dope track, y'all. And then we get into Savior. And this track is really decent too, because it talks about how all these MCs say they want to save hip-hop, and how hip-hop is actually okay where it is right now, and you should just do the best you can and make the best music that you can, as far as and stop trying to save hip-hop. And Davinci talks about how he kind of relates his verse to being Jesus, and how Jesus came to save mankind, and he's here to save hip-hop. So it's a really dope concept. Then we get into Something's Missing, and this is a real personal track about the loss of a loved one. And Davinci talks about how he lost his grandmother and all the influences, and how the teachings and stuff from her is missing from his life right now. And Mo the General, he lost his sister 8 years ago, and it's a really some touching bars on here about how that affects his life. So I really thought that was dope. And then we get into Freedom for Me, and Freedom for Me, it talks about basically what freed their mind, and it has a lot of biblical references in there, which I really thought was very positive and something different for hip hop today. So, like I said, you definitely want to have this in your collection. Nice EP. I'm going to give this a rating, even though it's only 6 tracks. I definitely had to call my first cousin on this one, y'all. I'll be back after these messages.
All the clips is loaded. I'm talking about hella artillery. The soldiers is in place. I really ain't gotta lift a finger. Somebody better tell these little niggas, man.
First off, nigga, the law. I'm straight to the point, nigga, uncut raw. Legal system up, they ain't playing with niggas. And the judge can't wait to Troy Davis a nigga. It's a lot of y'all hating, I ain't patient with niggas. I around and leave a nigga face in the river. You know I'm strapped up when I'm chasing the Skrilla. With a heater powerful enough to bake a gorilla. Got a lot of anger built up. Plus I'm on the grind, so I won't be satisfied till my bank account fill up. My kids gotta eat, that's what make a nigga get up. And taking off they plate, homie, that'll get you hit up. If you ain't real, I don't respect you. And I ain't finna text you, I'ma check you when I catch you. I don't make diss records, I'ma come address you. So if it's really beef, make your next move your best move.
Somebody better tell him the real is back. If you ain't feeling that, then you can feel this Mac.
Somebody better tell him
The wait is over, we making Yola, no baking soda.
Somebody better tell him
We run the game, just say my name, that's instant fame.
Somebody better tell him
We run the blocks, we all we got, so we call the shots.
Hey, and I'm back, and welcome to the third segment of TUBARS, the Uncle Britt Sound Review Show. And listen, there's a lot of MCs out here that don't get the credit that they deserve, and this guy Jarrett Michael is one of them. Now, Jarrett Michael stepped on the scene a few years ago. He was introduced to me through my man Mickey Fax, and he had a nice album that came out, I think last year, called There Are No Friends. And then he had a little EP, Heaven's Bouquet, and let me tell you something, that kind of just lets you know what's going on with this guy. If you didn't tune in to those, you definitely don't want to miss out on is Luke and Adams. Now, the album begins, it's a nice little intro. It's like a teacher that asks his kids what they want to be when they grow up, and then when it gets to him, he just says, basically, I want to be myself. And then it goes into this track called The Seventh Month of '88, and this whole album is basically he's walking you through his whole life. It's a real personal album, and this is how this track begins. It's actually him singing, so it shows this guy has a rap talent and a singing talent, so I really enjoyed that. Then we get into Story of Four. Now, this is such an honest song. The sample is so dope. It touches on the pain that this man has went through, and sometimes forgiving people when you don't even want to forgive. And the second verse, I'm gonna tell you, is so personal. This album might be one of the most personal albums that I've heard in such a long time. Then we get into 07. This beat comes on so hard, y'all, and you hear like the growth, the pain from being bullied, you hear the pain from struggling, and basically him trying to be what other people wanted him to be. And sometimes you want to be what they want you to be, and you want to be what you want to be, and sometimes you don't even want to be what you want to be. So I really thought that track was so dope. Then we get into Heaven is Greater Than Hell. So I'm gonna tell you, I love that from the gate. And this track, it goes through the positives and the negatives, all of the good and the bad, and as my man just brings you into his life. And he also addresses a lot of the doubters on this particular track. Then we get into Let Me Live, and this is one of my favorite tracks on this whole album. He expresses that whatever you do it for yourself, and try not to please, man. You either going to do it for God or you're doing it for yourself. He got a line where he says, people just wanted him to be like Fetty Wap, and chasing that nonsense that everybody, the bandwagon that everybody jumps on, and he's definitely not going to do that. The one thing I love about this album is, a lot of guys, when it gets to the choruses, a lot of these MCs just repeat these choruses over and over and over again. You do not hear this on this album at all. Then we get into Saddle J. This is just like a little quick interlude as my man just straight comes at all of these phony dudes in the game, and if the shoe fits, wear it. Then we got a nice, beautiful song called Her. And it just, it's talking to a special woman that cares for him. And he talks about how that woman actually is his queen, and she made him into a king. So I really thought that was dope. Then it's like he has this little intermission with Jah. It's just like a little heartfelt prayer that as he's praying to God, which I thought was really dope. This album is so positive and so personal, y'all. Then we get into Able Is He. It's just another heartfelt story of his life, and regardless of the pain that he's been through, he's doing things now that are making him happy. So you definitely don't want to miss out on that. And then we got Someone featuring Ali Goodnight, and this has a really nice video, y'all. You definitely need to go on YouTube and look up my man and check this video out.
In the car to living living in a house, from having close to nothing, this is all I care about. Trying to find eat, focused on buying beats. You can say what you want, but never title me weak. Can hear mama's voice in the back of my head. Instead, I blocked her out, all I'm seeing is red. Ain't no feelings in my heart, my soul's the poltergeist. Poke it right and puppets gon' see what I sacrifice. Many nights with the pipe, fights with more liquor. Someone give me a sign, I'm trying to die quicker. Nobody wanna help till it benefits them. Think I'll ever let the devil back in? You niggas, I've been hated and mistreated, defeated without a reason. Funny when it's your season, the pieces turn into Jesus. I ain't perfect, steady working, determined, maybe it's faith. Hell don't stand a chance, just see the smile on my face.
And this album, once again, very personal. Shout out to my man Mickey Fax for putting me on this guy. That's where I first heard Jarrett Michael. I'ma rate this, I'ma get off of y'all nerves. I definitely had to call my first cousin on this one, y'all. I'll be back after these messages.
I woke up this morning just thinking it crossed my mind. The pain that I felt when my mother got cancer, I almost lost my mind. What make it so real? Just came from a big. This chain of events go force a man just not wanna live. Lord knows I'm blessed with my wife. She worth by the billion. Let me double that price. Lost both of my brothers for playing this game that's a part of my life. The funny thing is, I'm so deep in it, right? Let me take a little deeper. Just walk with a nigga. Sit down and have a conversation and talk to a nigga. So worried about this social media with me and Drake. And need to be worried about if Ebola's still in the States. Lord knows, we just need some help. Standing in line for sneakers and designer belts. They talking, Philly we broke. But we just paid like 50 million to host a Pope. Let me ask you a question. How the f*** is that cool? Should've paid that money to open them schools. We blinded by money and material things that we can't even take. When we place to the grave, they gon' ask where was your faith? Or who was your Lord? Or how did you pray? Who did you follow? What would you say? When I talk to them kids, I try to explain what is deep in their life. See what happened to Freddie, what happened to Mike.
Hey, and I'm back, and welcome to the fourth segment of TUBARS, the Uncle Britt's Album Review Show. And listen, Blu and Nottz, even though they from opposite ends of the coast, for some reason when they get together, the marriage is just beautiful. My man Blu is from LA, my man Nottz is from VA, and they brought us that Gods in the Spirit album a few years ago, which was very, very dope. It was an EP rather. Still, it was just dope. It had the listeners waiting and begging for more. So now they're back with Titans in the Flesh. And the whole concept, and everybody on this album is supposed to be considered a Titan. And also, it has some nice biblical references and some nice soul-searching references on this album. So guess what? I'ma hop right in. It begins with a track called The Truth, and it features a young, strong-voiced young lady by the name of Shatisse. And you can kind of hear her gospel influences in there, which really sets the tone for this album and the concept of the album. And then we go into Heaven and Earth. And Heaven and Earth just goes through all of the things that plague man. Disease, sickness, and actually just acknowledging that there's a place of eternal life and what you got to do to make it to that place. So shout out to Blu for that. Then we get into, this track is just bananas, and I'm talking about Giant Steps. And this features my man Bishop Lamont and the Barrel Brothers, Torre and Skyzoo. And my man Torre, let me tell you something. He really makes this track what it is. You definitely don't want to miss out on this track. It's brag rap, but it's brag rap at the top of the apex. So listen. Then we get into To the East, and this features my man Definite Mass, Tri-State, and of course none other than the great Emcee Mickey Facts. And Tri-State talks about digging beneath the surface. This whole album just challenges the listener to dig beneath the surface and, you know, get your money's worth out of what you pay for. You know what I mean? Stop listening to all that trash and use your brain. My man Mickey Facts, he never disappoints. He got a line on there where he says, like, pyramid housing, I'm out to give you youthful knowledge. I'm worried about my future instead of the newest tires. So Mickey Facts, he always just got some bars that make you think. So you definitely don't want to miss out on this. And then we get into a track called The Man. Now it's a short album, but unfortunately I really couldn't get into this track. So you know where I'm headed with this? Skippies. And one of the best tracks. It's so good. It was a great way to end this album, and I'm talking about this track, Atlantis. Now, this is one of the best tracks, probably, if it came out as a single, one of the best tracks in 2016. And my man Blue, it shows that he's a researcher. He talks about, you know, the 144,000 going to heaven, and he just flips all these metaphors, combining the stuff that makes our world what it is today. You know, he talks about the birth of Christ, you know, to young people, young men going to prison, and, you know, having his eyes open, and he sees kings and queens, and when he looks out his window. So it's a really nice, positive track, and he has a remix to the same track, Atlantis. You know, talks about the same things, but it has some nice vocals in the chorus. You definitely don't want to miss out on this album, y'all. I'm going to rate this. I'm going to get off of your nerves. And I got to give Titans in the Flesh my first cousin.
You niggas lack season like a torn ACL. Level headed, I put this wood in your lady belly. And I bet my ditch is about as thick as fat.